If you've been playing Valorant for a while, you've definitely been told to try aim training. Whether it was through the official Valorant broadcast, friends, or YouTube videos, aim training is so mainstream that you can't possibly avoid it. However, when you actually try it out for yourself, it's easy to notice that the promised in-game results are pretty hard to see. The truth is, aim training can be effective, but only if you use the right tools. You need to realize what you want to work on, know why that's important, and also have the correct playlist to work on those skills. Hey guys, it's Konpeki, and that's exactly what I'll be going over in today's video. But if videos aren't enough and you need more personalized help, my team of Radiant and VCT coaches can help you rank a 500 RR in just 10 weeks, guaranteed, or your money back inside the Immortal Roadmap program. Don't believe me? Check out these players who hit Radiant after being stuck in Immortal for multiple episodes. Over the last 4 years, we've fine-tuned our coaching program to help players consistently break through their plateaus, and we've continued to add the best coaches to our team, such as Milan, who recently got signed to Fnatic as their assistant coach for the upcoming season. So if you're serious about improving in Valorant and want to learn from the best, message me the word AIM on Discord to see if we'd be a good fit. Okay, so aim training. It's simple enough on its own. You get into any third-party aim trainer, load up some tasks, and start clicking away to improve your aim. However, it's not as simple as it may seem the first time playing, especially if you want to specifically train your aim for a game like Valorant. That's because each game that involves aiming has its own unique or similar styles that set them apart or make them different. For example, if you want to aim train for a game like Overwatch, where there is relatively high time to kill and crazy movement, tracking is pretty important. But something like crosshair placement wouldn't be nearly as much of a factor since engagements are less predictable and you usually can't kill your enemies in a single shot anyway. So for Valorant, the unique aiming style you need to develop can be broken down into two categories: passive aim and active aim. In case you haven't heard of these terms before, passive aim focuses on how you pre-aim your crosshair before engagements. It's essentially utilizing your knowledge about the map and game sense to clear angles and react to any possible position someone can choose to fight from. This skill becomes more and more relevant as the time to kill goes down the higher the rank you are. Active aim, on the other hand, is, as you guessed, the complete opposite of that. Active aim involves your mouse movement during your actual gunfights, excluding movement related to gun control. This includes actions such as flicking, tracking, and micro adjustments. Now, with active and passive aim in mind, what does this mean for our aim training? When you are aim training in Aimlabs, Kovaaks, or inside the game, so much of the focus that gets pushed forward is active aim, when in reality, it's not the most important aspect to aiming in Valorant. Well, Konpeki, does that mean that all my aim training is a waste of time since it's mostly active aim? No, not at all. In fact, any form of aim training is definitely a net benefit. Having good flicks and tracking can help you out tremendously to smoothen out your crosshair placement for your passive aim. However, not all forms of aim training are equal. For example, if you're a player who has solid mouse control, scores well in aim trainers, and performs well in the practice range, but still struggles in actual matches, it's likely that your passive aim and game knowledge are holding you back the most. So in that case, just try to play more deathmatch, unrated, and ranked games to get more experience playing the game. Work on your crosshair placement and maybe even consider watching more educational videos like this one. But if you're on the other end of the spectrum, you often have a good idea of where to expect your enemies, but are whiffing when you get into the actual gunfights. Aim training will be a really powerful tool for working on that specific aspect of your gameplay. However, even then, you need to be smart about it. We already mentioned how aiming in games can be different, and because of the slower tactical FPS nature of Valorant, where crosshair placement is a guiding force when taking duels, you should be looking to use an aim training playlist that primarily focuses on your micro adjustments. This is because more often than not, your crosshair will already be close to your target, so you'll only need to make minor crosshair adjustments. So a good Valorant aim training playlist will focus on the smaller micro adjustments you need to make often in the game. Sure, Gridshot Ultimate looks cool and flashy, but it's also extremely inefficient. That's why we'll highlight 3 of the most important scenarios from a Valorant focused playlist designed by Minigod. In case you haven't heard of the guy, Minigod has not only put in thousands of hours to reach world records on multiple aim training tasks, he also has coached numerous tier 1 pros in multiple TAC FPS titles like Fnatic's Chronicle. So without further ado, let's jump into those scenarios. The first task I'd like to highlight from his playlist is called wide wall, 4 targets, pokeball, extra small. This is basically a task designed to get you to think about proper flicking technique. Here, the idea is to hold your mouse down as you move from target to target, working on smoothing out your lines in big, clean flicks. At first, you may think this has nothing to do with micro corrections, but the reason we're doing this drill is because it really teaches you how to micro adjust after a large flick. It shows the importance of a fast initial flick and then a precise micro adjustment. Overall, try under flicking in this task to reduce unnecessary mouse movement and focus on the precise micro adjustments to land on the relatively small targets consistently. Next up, we got Voltaic Blink Click Valorant. This task consists of 2 elements. Firstly, we have small flicks, and then there's also click timing. The first element heavily focuses on micro flicks as you need to hit a small target, after which it blinks away slightly so that you can hit a short flick. Then you just repeat that process 2 more times. After the blinking phase, you move on to 2 sets of click timing. Here, the targets move straight across a horizontal axis, and you need to place your crosshair ahead of the target and click on the right timing. When the target is moving like this, it's important you don't try to flick directly onto it, but instead lead the target and let it move into your crosshair. Once you're able to land your shots consistently, you want to gradually decrease the amount of lead until it almost looks like you're flicking directly on target. I really like this scenario because it has both the small adjustments you'd expect to do if your crosshair placement isn't perfect, or if someone peeks you, and it also has a click timing aspect, which is really important for things like holding angles and countering moving opponents. Finally, I want you to try Minigod's Headshot Click Easy task. This task has somewhat larger targets, but if you play Valorant a lot, you'll be quite familiar with the type, since it's meant to imitate the AD movement you often see players doing. The targets only move horizontally, and in order to eliminate a target, you need to shoot it 3 times. This drill will really help you improve your movement reading skills, and it should also make hitting those AD spammers a lot easier. As you play these tasks, remember, we want to keep calm, smooth, and relaxed aim to build up our fundamentals. This leads to learning better tension control over your mouse over time, and ultimately better aim. Oh, and one quick tip that Mini, the creator of the playlist, also recommends is using sensitivity changes to benefit your aim training. While this is optional, I still wanted to include it in this video since it does help your mouse control if you use a slightly higher sensitivity when training, as higher sensitivities simply force you to have more control, especially on these types of high precision tasks. Change your Valorant sensitivity by 10 or 15%, simply multiply your sensitivity by 1.1 or 1.15 to get an exact change, and it should help you a little bit in the long run. Of course, that doesn't mean you need to make your sensitivity uncontrollably high in game too, because remember, we're trying to aim train to help our performance in the game, and not trying to improve our mouse control by any means necessary at the cost of in-game performance. But now that we have a good set of tasks that translate well to our aim in-game, let's hop into the game itself to wrap up this routine. After all, aim trainers can't quite teach you good dueling movement, crosshair placement, or even gun control. That's why when you boot up the game after this playlist, I want you to ignore the range and hop straight into a deathmatch. Here, you should pick up a Guardian and try to implement what we just worked on in our micro adjustments. The goal for this deathmatch is to keep that same calm, relaxed mouse control as you take fights, especially as you incorporate movement. Like we just mentioned, one of the downsides of aim trainers is that they don't utilize realistic movement of your character as part of the training. So another factor of translating your aim training to Valorant is to incorporate your movement as soon as possible after completing your aim training. That connection over time should become stronger and stronger as you level up your skills. You can play 1 or 2 normal death matches, then you should be ready to tackle competitive play with your new translated aim training routine. Now, before I wrap up this video, I'd like to mention that if you want to try the rest of the 13 tasks on this playlist, you can definitely do so. The playlist can be found through the Voltaic Discord server, and I'll also post it under the free resources channel inside my Discord server, where you can also find many other resources that you can access completely for free. That'll be all. Thanks for watching.